Good day, everyone. Welcome to another live streaming of tax training. And our topic for today is about the tax updates. No? Tax updates as of December 22, 2021. Why there are so many new regulations, revenue memorandum circulars na inilabas yung BIR. That's why when I choose the topic, inuna ko na ito, no? So that you will be updated. No? So let's start with revenue regulations number 21, 21-2021. Why? Because yung the rest are all revenue memorandum circular, no? So, ang revenue regulations is the rule itself, no? Batas ang revenue regulations. Ano yung RMC o Revenue Memorandum Circular? Clarificatory lang po sila. So, pagka meron tayong RMC, so galing yan sa law, no? Nagka-clarify lang siya ng batas. So, itong regulations, batas talaga to siya. But in this revenue regulations 21-2021, ang ini-implement niya dito yung CREATE Act, no? Ito yung implementing rules and regulations na CREATE. Okay. So ano ba itong CREATE Act? Ito yung bibigyan ng mga tax incentives sa mga corporations at individual. Bali, tulong to ng gobyerno, giving tax incentives na para makarecover yung ating mga businesses. No? I would like to shout out, may viewers ba tayo? Wala pa. Ilan? Okay. Ayun. Sige. Shout out po sa ating viewers. No? Sino yung mga viewers natin yan? Walang pangalan?
Si June Sarmiento.
Okay.
Si Janet Alusiman.
Alusiman? Okay. So, June Sarmiento at saka Janet Alusiman. Thank you for viewing, no? At saka shout out po sa inyo. Sana hindi kayo sa Visayas o hindi sa Mindanao, no? Kasi kagabi hindi ako nakatulog. Why? Parang, hindi ko alam parang iniipit yung dibdib ko sa nakita ko sa video yung nangyari sa Visayas at saka sa Mindanao. Yung una, self-pity talaga ako what happened sa bayan namin, yung Sipalay, no? Negros Occidental. But, nung nakita ko yung iba, Diyos ko. Alam niyo, pagka norm na siya, parang norm na sa atin yung calamities eh. Why? Kasi lahat nakakaranas. Kaya parang, dito naawa ka sa sarili mo. Makita mo yung iba ganun din. Parang, somehow hindi ka na naawa kasi pare-pareho naman kayo. No? So, shout out Sir June Sarmiento. No? Sabi niya, good day, ma'am. And then Janet Alusiman, good afternoon po. Ma'am Elsa, sabi niya dito, good afternoon din po. And then kay Lay P, happy day, ma'am, no? Happy talaga tayo kahit na maraming nangyayari sa buhay natin because we have something to look up to na may mga blessings pa rin tayo kahit na sabihin mo na may mga calamities. And one of the blessings that we have to count really is buhay tayo, we are alive, no? Kasi yung iba, wala na. And also to Sir Ariel San Pedro, hello po. Kirsten Hanna de la Cruz, good PM po. No? So, thank you very much. And si Ma'am Lilian Yao, good afternoon din po. No? So, shout out po sa inyo tanan sa lahat po. No? Sa tanang viewers naton, no? Sa mayong hapon sa mga taga Negros, Iloilo. Sa Cebu, ganun din, mayong hapon din. No? Okay. So, why tax updates? Actually, December na, no? Yung ilang days na lang, 2022 na. Kaya nga sabi ko, we have something to look up to na umabot pa tayo ng 2022. No? Imagine how many days na lang. But sad also na may iba talaga tayong kapamilya na hindi na umabot. No? So ano po itong CREATE Act? Alam nyo, I used to disregard itong CREATE Act. Kasi sabi ko, if you are net loss na naman, so what kind of incentive you can get? Wala kang mababayaran na tax. But of course, itong mga incentives na nandito sa CREATE Act, at makikita din natin mamaya dun sa mga RMCs, you have to, especially sa mga practicing accountant at sa mga bookkeepers, you have something to explain to your clients on how to avail of this, no? Kasi incentive to na binigay ng gobyerno sa atin, so we have to avail this one. Kasi malaking tulong to sa atin. Although sabi ko naman, para sa akin, for those industry na talagang losing, wala siyang effect. Why? Kasi wala ka talagang babayang tax because you're losing. Okay, so ano tong Revenue Regulations number 21-2021, which implement, no, the regulations or the provisions of the CREATE Act on tax incentives. No, so we have section 5 here, itong controversial, kasi ang VAT natin dito sa Pilipinas palaging controversial yan. No, so we have value added tax, zero rating, and exemptions. Ang dami pa rin na guguluhan dito, no, sa VAT zero rating at saka VAT exemption. So balikan lang natin, ano ba yung pagkakaiba ng zero rate na VAT at saka yung exemption? Kasi if you try to look at, ang exemption walang tax yan. Ang zero rating wala ring tax yan kasi zero. So ba't ano pa ang pagkakaiba nila? Bakit tinawag pa siya na zero rate? Na wala din naman palang babayaran. Di ba dapat exempted na lang? No? To make it simple. Pero, what is the difference between the zero-rated sale in VAT and the exempt sale? No? So, define natin yung zero rating. Ano ba yung zero rating? Zero rating, ito yung VAT registered taxpayer who is supposed to be subject to the 12% VAT. But because of the incentive given to it by the government, ang babayaran niya is zero. Ibig sabihin, wala siyang babayaran na VAT. But the zero-rated taxpayer, which is a VAT-registered taxpayer, can claim input tax on purchases. Ano ba yung input tax on purchases? Ito yung value-added tax na binayaran ng taxpayer when he or she purchased goods and services from another VAT-registered taxpayer. In short, ito yung advance VAT na binayaran niya pag nag-purchase siya ng mga goods and services. So, entitled siya to claim a refund or tax credit certificate on the VAT paid on purchases. Ito namang exemption, ano to? Ito yung exemption from VAT, hindi talaga siya subject sa VAT, no? So, wala kang i-compute na output, wala kang i-compute na input. So, ano ang mas beneficial to sa taxpayer? Ang zero-rated o ang exemption? Of course, the zero-rated. Why? Because sa exemption, wala ka nang pakialam sa output, wala ka nang pakialam sa input, no? Pero sa zero rating, wala kang pakialam sa output, pero may benefits ka pa sa input tax. And what are the industries na zero-rated sale sila? Ito yung export sale. Why binigyan sila ng incentive ng gobyerno? Because this kind of industry is encouraged by the government because income, dollar generating industry siya. So nagdadala siya ng dollars dito sa Pilipinas, binibigyan siya ng incentive to encourage people to do export. Kasi nakakatulong nga sa bansa, no? So the VAT exemption on importation and VAT zero rating on local purchases shall only apply to goods and services directly. Ito na ha, matindi itong word dito. Directly and exclusively used in the registered project of activity of registered export enterprise for a maximum period of 17 years from the date of registration unless otherwise extended under the SIPP. So ito yung mga packages, no, yung incentive package program ng gobyerno. So anong sabi nila dito? Pwede mo siyang i-avail maximum of 17 years, no? Ngayon lang to ha, ginawa sa dito sa RR na to, 20-2021. No, so 17 years pwede mong i-avail yung VAT zero rating. So the direct and exclusive use for the registered project or activity refers to raw materials, yan, So ano pala itong mga direct and exclusive use ng project or activity? So ito yung raw materials, inventories, supplies, equipment, goods, packaging materials, services, including provision of basic infrastructure, utilities, and maintenance, repair and overhaul of equipment. Take note ha, ito yung kasama sa direct and exclusive use. And other expenditures directly attributable to the registered project or activity, without which the registered project or activity cannot be carried out. Ibig sabihin na it cannot be carried out, it is essential, it is important to the activity of the registered enterprise. The VAT zero rating on local purchases shall be granted upon the endorsement of the concerned IPA, ito yung Investment Promotion Agency, iba-ibang agency ito ha, in addition to the documentary requirements of the BIR. Since incentive nga ito sa tax, siyempre may pakialam ang BIR dito kasi hindi magbabayad ng tax, no? Na instead na mandatory sila. Patayin mo na yung computer. Okay. So, anong sinasabi dito? Ito yung mga direct and exclusive use for the registered project or activity. So, these are the materials, the inventories, and mind you, very strict po tayo when it comes to inventory ngayon. Ha? Meron na naman akong taxpayer. Actually, today, ilan yung taxpayer na ka-appointment namin lahat? 3, no? At saan sila dinadali or kakaroon ng findings ang mga examiners on the inventory. Kaya take note na yung inventory nyo should tally with your purchases. Kasi nare-reconcile yan dyan, na-account yan from your purchases. Halimbawa, bumili ka ng 10 bote ng goods mo. 5 lang yung nabenta mo. Dapat may 5 ka pa na inventories, no? Makikita naman yan doon sa sales nyo. So, take note na inventory is crucial. That's why, a reminder also na year-end na ngayon, especially for those na taxable year, nila is calendar year, so ending December 31, prepare nyo na yung inventory nyo ngayon. And take note also that your inventory should tally with your purchases. Kasi kung hindi, nagkakaroon ng malaking findings, no? And that findings will create a deficiency taxes, no, sa inyo. Kaya ingat-ingat sa inventory. Magkasama yan. And then the zero-rated sale of goods or properties. So ano yung zero-rated sale of goods or properties? Zero-rated sale of goods or properties by a VAT-registered person is taxable transaction. Taxable transaction for VAT purposes. But shall not result in any output tax. Why not result in output tax? Kasi zero rate siya, no? But the input tax on purchases of goods, properties, or services attributable to such zero-rated sale shall be available to tax credit or refund in accordance with this regulation. So, yun na yung sinasabi ko sa inyo na yung input tax on purchases, you can claim it as either a refund or a tax credit. In short, sa inyo pa rin yun, asset yun, hindi nyo expense. Why? Kasi may benefits pa, may future benefits pa that you can derive from the input tax na advance na binayaran nyo. So the following sale by VAT-registered person shall be subject to 0% rate. So 0% rate is zero-rated sales, no? So these are the example under these regulations, 20-2021. Revenue Regulations 20-2021. Number 1. Sale and actual shipment of goods from the Philippines to a foreign country. So, export. Pag sinabi mo yung export, anong gagawin mo? Yung goods dito sa Pilipinas, dalhin mo sa ibang bansa at doon mo i-consume. Kaya zero-rated siya. So, irrespective of any shipping arrangement, ano yung mga shipping arrangement natin? Can be FOB or freight on board or yung sila na yung magbabayad, no? So, iba-iba ang klaseng shipment yan. Nag-i-incur ka ngayon kung kailan mag-start yung ownership ng goods na dineliver mo. No? May mga rules tayo dyan, especially the rules on transportation. That may be agreed upon. Depende yan sa agreement ng seller and the buyer. No? which may influence or determine the transfer of ownership of the goods so exported. Pag sinabi mong determine the transfer of ownership, ito yung liabilities mata-transfer din kung sino na yung owner ng goods. And accounted for in accordance with the rules and regulations of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. Ano yung rules and regulations of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas? Dapat accounted siya yung since export ito, ang denomination dito is foreign currency denominated sale. Bakit siya foreign currency denominated sale? Kasi nag-export ka. Kaya nga to encourage or subsidized industry kasi magdadala siya ng dollars sa Pilipinas. So, foreign currency natin usually is dollars. Kaya, yung dollars ang measurement natin pag nag-export tayo. So, since foreign currency denominated sale siya, dadaan siya at will follow the rules and regulations of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas or our BSP. At ano yun, dadaan siya sa commercial banks. And then yung iba naman may letter of credit. No? So iba-iba yan, sanction yan or regulated yan ng iba't ibang klaseng batas. So, next is the sale of goods, supplies, equipment, and fuel to persons engaged in international shipping of or international air transport operations, provided that the goods, supplies, equipment, and fuel shall be used exclusively for international shipping or air transport operations. As I have on my lecture, the mga previews, no? Ano ba yung rule natin sa VAT? VAT are paid in the place of consumption. So, binili niya dito sa Pilipinas, but kinonsume niya doon sa ibang bansa. So, saan dapat bayaran yung VAT? Doon sa ibang bansa, kung saan niya na-consume yung goods na binili niya dito. Same also sa mga citizens natin o sa mga shipping industries natin. Pag bumili sila ng mga oil or fuel nila, supplies nila sa ibang bansa, zero rated din sila. No? Kasi ang VAT has been adopted by several countries in the world. Halos pare-pareho lang naman ang sistema ng VAT. No? There is an input tax, there is an output tax, and then may mga tinatawag din sila na zero-rated sales, no? Because VAT is a business tax paid on consumption of goods. That's why the more you consume, the more you pay value-added tax. Kaya nga naalala ko pa noon yung sabi ng Commissioner Rualo noon, no? Sabi niya, since ang daming nagpo-protest against the value-added tax, anong sabi niya? Kung ayaw nyo magbayad ng value-added tax, huwag kayong mag-consume ng goods and services. Why? Because it is inherent. If you consume goods and services, the more you consume, the more you pay tax. Why? Because value-added tax is a VAT on consumption. No? So, international shipping or international air transport, basta't ano yung binili niya mga supplies dito, they're subject to zero rate, no? Pero ano yung sabi niya? The sale of goods, supplies, equipment, and fuel to person engaged in international shipping or international air transport, limited to goods, supplies, equipment, and fuel that shall be used in the transport of goods and passengers from a port in the Philippines directly to a foreign court. Directly to a foreign court. Dumating siya dito sa airport ng Manila. Pumunta pa siya ng Cebu, pumunta pa ng Davao. Hindi na yun foreign port or pier. Ano na siya? Local, no? So, may twist yan na kung ano man yung na-consume niya na goods, fuel dito sa Pilipinas, magiging taxable na siya. Kasi within, no? Directly to a foreign port or vice versa without docking or stopping at any other part in the Philippines unless the docking or stopping is for the purpose of unloading passengers. Pero kung nag-unload lang siya ng passengers, hindi siya kumuha pa ng ibang pasahero, na halimbawa, kumuha siya ng pasahero dito sa Manila, dinala niya sa Cebu, sa Davao, magiging taxable siya locally. No? Okay. Sales to person or entities whose exemption from direct and indirect taxes under special laws or international agreement to which the Philippines is a signatory effectively subject to such sales to zero rate. Ano naman ito? Ito yung mga tax treaties natin or our direct agreement with other countries as to the taxation of our citizens and our individual and corporations, no? So kung ano yung usually kung ano yung treatment nila doon sa taxpayers natin, ganun din yung magiging treatment natin sa kanila dito. Another is the sale of raw materials, inventory, supplies, equipment, packaging materials, and goods to a registered export enterprise to be used directly and exclusively in its registered project. Ito yung constructive export. Why constructive export? Kasi binenta mo nga siya doon sa manufacturer, pero yung manufacturer na yan, yung goods niya and services, ini-export niya or doon sa ibang bansa kinukonsume. No? So, and this is provided in the Republic Act 11534 or yung CREATE, no? CREATE Act. For a maximum period of 17 years, imagine ha, from the date of registration and unless otherwise extended under the SIPP. The term registered export enterprise shall refer to an export enterprise defined under Section 4M, Rule 1 of the CREATE Act. Also, registered business enterprise defined in Section 4W of the same IRR. So, very important po yung definition. Right now, gumagawa po kami ng glossary of Philippine tax. No? Bakit kami gumagawa ng glossary? Because lahat ng mga rules, regulations, Republic Act, special laws related to taxations, kinukuha namin yung mga definition of terms and then nilalagyan natin ng isang files. Ilock nyo yung pinto, ha? Okay. And then, we have our sales to existing registered export enterprises located inside economic zones and free port zones shall also be qualified for VAT zero rating. Kasi nagkaroon ng ano dito ng parang reklamo noon, no, na yung mga purchases nila sinabject na sa VAT. O ngayon very clear na yung purchases ng mga nasa economic zones are qualified for zero rating. So hindi na magbabayad ng VAT. Dati kasi sinabject sila sa VAT, kaya nagkakagulo. So good news po itong 20-2021 dun sa mga PESA registered enterprises. Okay. Zero rated sale of services. Ang maganda dito sa train law natin, yung bagong laws natin, meron na rin zero rated sale of services, dati zero rated sale of goods lang, no? So ano naman tong zero rated sale of services? Taxable transaction for VAT purposes but not result in any output tax. Kaya nga zero rated siya . So the input tax as purchases of goods, properties, or services attributable to such zero rated sale shall be available as tax credit or refund in accordance with these regulations. Ano yung pwede mong gawin dun sa input tax mo? Kasi zero naman yung VAT mo, so wala kang ma-applyan. So you apply for a tax credit or refund, no? But as experience says, mas madali yung mag-apply ng tax credit kaysa sa tax refund. That's why karamihan ng mga exporters nagkiklaim na lang ng tax credit. Ano yung tax credit? That is a tax credit certificate certifying that you have advance payment or you have payment of taxes amounting to such that you can apply in your other tax liabilities. Kaya parang advance payment of taxes. Okay. So ano itong mga services subject to zero rate? Ito yung services other than processing, manufacturing, or repacking of goods rendered to a person engaged in business conducted outside the Philippines. Kaya nga export siya no? Or to a non-resident person not engaged in business who's outside the Philippines when the services are performed. The consideration for which is paid for in acceptable foreign currency and accounted for in accordance with the rules and regulations of the BSP. Alam nyo, meron akong consultancy ngayon na pinipilit talaga nila na zero rated, no? Napakaliwanag nito, This is clarified because even then, ganito na rin naman yung treatment natin, no? Yung zero rated will apply on export. yung case nila, nag-import sila ng services. Ibig sabihin, hindi naman pala import. Ibig sabihin, yung foreign country, pupunta dito sa Pilipinas, and then hinire yung services nila. Mayroon bang export doon? Siyempre wala. Why? Because pumasok na sila and the services has been consumed in the Philippines. Ano ba yung rule natin on VAT? VAT should be paid at the place of consumption. So saan kinonsume? Saan rinender yung services? Dito sa Pilipinas. So definitely, walang exportation ng services. O kasi yung isang foreign company, nagkaroon siya ng activity dito sa Pilipinas, nag-hire siya ng services. So does it follow na yung pag-hire niya ng services is zero rated kasi hindi siya Filipino citizen? Of course, hindi citizenship yung nagde-determine kung magiging zero rated ka o hindi. So what happened? Pinasubject ko talaga sila sa VAT na 12%. No? But of course, yung 12% VAT na yan, there is a benefit of input tax on that. No? Kaya, konti pa rin yung babayaran. Okay. So, dito sa 20-2021, bakit nila in-amend ito? In-insert na naman nila yung maximum period of 17 years from the date of registration. No? So, ibig sabihin, ito yung sale of services, so zero-rated sale siya, pwede mo siyang i-avail 17 years after the date of registration. No? So, hindi ko alam. After that, revert siya back to 12%. No? So, the term registered export enterprise shall refer to an export enterprise defined under Section 4, Rule 1 of the CREATE IRR. So, yun ang nagde-define ng registered export enterprise. The above described sales to existing registered export enterprise located inside economic zones and free port zone shall also be qualified for VAT zero rating. So, kaya nga sabi ko sa inyo, magandang balita to sa mga PESA registered enterprises. Why? Because yung sale to them ng mga local or domestic enterprise natin, tapos ang benta sa kanila is also zero rated. No? So, since zero rated, hindi sila mag-withhold. Another services rendered to person engaged in international shipping or transport operations. So, ito naman services, kanina goods. No? So, rendered siya na international shipping or air transport, including leases of property for use thereof. No? So, ganun din, provided na yung common carrier and the transport of passenger goods or cargoes should be one place in the Philippines to another place in the Philippines, magiging taxable siya. So, it should be na from the foreign countries to the place in the Philippines para zero-rated siya. Transport of passengers and cargo, ito yung number 5, by domestic air or sea vessels from Philippines to a foreign country. Also, yung transport of passenger and cargo by domestic or sea or air, ito yung sa barko or sa aeroplano, na dadalhin mo yung pasahero sa ibang bansa are also zero-rated. Okay. Provided kung yung transport ng passengers to another country shall be exempt from VAT. Pero kung liable sila pagka dito lang sa Pilipinas or within the Philippines. Since zero-rated sila, they are still liable to a percentage tax of 3% based on their gross receipts derived from transport of cargo from the Philippines. Babayaran na lang nila is the 3% percentage tax. Next, sale of power. Ito yung mga generated. Ito yung nagsusupply sa Meralco, nagsusupply sa mga electric companies natin. So, sale of power or fuel generated through renewable sources of energy such as but not limited to biomass, solar, wind, hydropower, geothermal, and steam, ocean energy, and other emerging sources using technologies such as fuel cells and hydrogen fuels. So, bakit ginawang zero-rated yung sale ng power generated through renewable sources? Ano yung mga renewable sources? Ito yung galing sa solar, no? Yung hydropower, geothermal. So, zero-rated po sila. Hindi sinasubject sa VAT yung sale nila doon. No? Okay. Provided that zero rating shall apply strictly to the sale of power or fuel generated through renewable sources of energy and shall not extend to the sale of services related to the maintenance or operation of plants generating said power. So, hindi kasama doon yung services related to maintenance. No? Okay. So, yun lang. No? So, good news itong Revenue Regulations 2021 doon sa mga PESA registered enterprises. At saka ano yung bago dito, 17 years na silang pwedeng mag-avail ng VAT zero rating. Okay. Okay? So, next po natin na i-discuss, actually, ang dami natin discussions. No? Ako kasi ngayon, di ko na inuubos yung 2 hours. No? Right now, wala na tayong assist, kaya bear with me. No? Kasi tatapusin ko talaga itong mga updates. There are so many updates right now. And another update is the Revenue Memorandum Circular 118-2021, publishing the list of registered manufacturers or importers na meron silang mga corresponding brands, variants of cigarettes, heated tobacco, and vapor products. No? So marami yan sila. Okay. So ito yung mga product category. Merong local produced cigarettes for domestic consumption, merong imported cigarette products, local manufacturer of cigarette products for export, and then we have the PESA registered manufacturers of cigarette products. Ano yung PESA registered manufacturers of cigarette products? Ano ba yung nasa PESA? Yung sa PESA natin, Philippine Economic Zone Authorities, the locators there, kung nagmamanufacture sila ng cigarette products, ang requirement doon, it should be na i-dispose mo yan sa ibang bansa and not for local consumptions. Registered importer of heated tobacco products, no? Ano yung mga heated tobacco products? Parang hindi ko yan ma-imagine kung ano yan, but na-imagine ko yung tobacco, no? Kasi yung lola ko used to plant tobacco na ang lalaki ng mga dahon, ganyan kalalaki yun, tataba. No? Tapos hinahang nila yan. Pag kinuha mo yan, alam na nila yung aging ng dahon eh. Pag tinanggal mo yan doon sa puno ng tabako, hinahang nila yan. No? Kaya gusto ko magtanim yan sa farm ko. Devastated po yung farm ko, sobra. Kaya kagabi, talagang namaga yung mata ko while looking at the video. Para palang hindi mo matiis talaga, no? So, tatanim ako niyan sa farm ko kasi once na mature na yung plant, ihang mo siya, tanggalin mo siya, tapos ihang mo siya sa, sa air na hanggang sa tuyo siya. And then, pwede mo siyang ibabad sa tubig, lagyan mo ng Tide powder kasi medyo matapang-tapang yung Tide powder. And then, pwede mo na siyang gawing na spray, no, as insecticide dun sa mga halaman mo. Kasi as insecticide, papatayin niya yung mga maliliit na mga insektos na kumakain ng halaman mo. No? So, yan ang benefits ng tabako. Although, meron akong isang plants na nandun din sa Negros. Lason talaga siya. No? Lason talaga siya. Anong tawag doon? Pagka ininom ng tao yun, talagang mamamatay. No? At yun, maganda din yun na ibabad mo sa tubig, anuhin mo yung katas niya, and then lagyan mo rin ng Tide powder, no? Pagka na-dilute mo na yung Tide powder at saka yung plants na yun, yung pinakakatas niya, lagay mo na sa sprayer, and then spray mo na sa mga halaman. No? Mamamatay yung mga uod, mga insects. Okay. Yan ang pakinabang naman ng tobacco. No? But there are studies also na talagang against sila sa tobacco because nakaka-cancer. But yung mga tao naman tuloy pa rin nagko-consume ng tobacco. No? So, registered importer of or heated tobacco products and taxpayer importer of vapor products. No? Sila yung variant ng cigarettes. No? Ano yung variant? Parang substitute ng cigarettes. No? Okay. Any product not included in the list shall be considered as unauthorized or illicit, subject to seizure apprehension in accordance with existing rules and regulations. Kasi sa manufacturing to, and they are, ang mahigpit dito, ang regulatory ng BIR on excise tax, no? Kasi pagka manufacturing companies ka, there are persons assigned as inspector na titingnan nila lahat ng produce mo during the day, and then bago mo i-release yan, dapat may advance payment ng taxes yan. Kahit na yung VAT should be paid in advance, no? Yung value added tax na 12%. The manufacturer and importer of new products are required to register before it's launching in the market. No? So, kung may mga bagong products kanina launch sa market, it should be registered muna. And pagkagaya nito, yung mga intake to sa human consumptions, dadaan pa to sa Food and Drug Administration. Newly registered products will be included in the update list of products in the BIR website within 30 days from the date of registration. Okay. Okay, so yan po yung 118-2021. Now let's go to the next, no? RMC 119-2021. Ito yung form availability ng 1707 and 1707A. Ano ba itong mga 1707 and 1707A? This is the capital gains tax for onerous transfer of shares of stocks not traded through the local exchange. Paano ito nangyari? Binenta mo yung shares of stocks mo, siyempre may bayad. Kaya nga, binenta mo halimbawa by sale, no? So, babayaran mo yan, bayaran mo yung capital gains tax, mag-secure ka ng clearance bago mo ma-transfer. Why? Kasi shares of stocks are registrable property no na may-ari. And when we say registrable, saan yan pinaparegister? Sa books ng corporation, sa books ng sa books ng corporation na registered sa ECEC or sa Securities and Exchange Commission. Okay. And then we have 1707A. Ito yung annual capital gains tax return for onerous transfer of shares of stocks not traded through the local stocks exchange. Ito yung annual capital gains tax returns. Ito yun na yung summary of all the capital gains tax that you have paid during the year, no? So, yun yung dalawang forms na bago na available. Since this is our tax updates, so sinama na natin pati yung new forms that are available for the public to use. Although dati na tayo may 1707, bakit siya bago? May dinagdag lang dyan na ibang features. No? Before I proceed, I would like to shout out Ma'am Rowena Tixera. No? Sabi niya, good PM po, ma'am. And then also, Elma Morta, sabi niya, good PM, ma'am. And also, Ellen Ko, good doon po, ma'am. Bakit hirap makakuha ng appointment sa BIR ngayon? Bakit lagi full? No? Bakit daw laging full? Marami na po. Bakit ngayon? Kasi December na po at ang dami ng nakalib, no, on leave na mga BIR employees. Kaya mahirapan po kayo makakuha ng appointment. Yung iba, nag-ano na yan, anong tawag dito, on leave na. So, hirap na kayong kumuha ng appointment. So, siguro, upapa-appointment kayo ulit sa BIR next year na. No? Okay. So, in this BIR Form 1707, ito yung capital gains tax. Ano ba itong capital gains tax? Capital gains tax are the income tax that we pay when we purchase shares of stocks, when we purchase real properties, no? Binabayaran natin dyan capital gains. Okay, so, paano daw bayaran itong capital gains tax na ito? Using BIR Form 1707 and 1707A. For manual payment, pwede siyang bayaran sa authorized agent bank kung saan located yung company, no? And then, where the seller or transferor is required to register. Halimbawa, pero ang ano kasi natin, ang rule natin sa shares of stocks ng corporation, it's considered as personal property. And once it is personal property, it follows where the owner is registered. No? So halimbawa, nagbenta ka ng shares of stocks mo, ang corporation, the issuing corporation is in Quezon City, pero yung residence ng may-ari is in Marikina, no? So once na nag-file ka ng capital gains tax mo on the onerous transfer ng shares of stocks, saan ka magpa-file? Sa Marikina, no? Kasi nandoon ang registered owner, and shares of stocks are considered personal property, so it follows where the registration of the registered taxpayer. So doon siya, susunod siya doon. But when it comes to real property, iba naman po ang ano natin, rules. Why? Because you have to register your sale, your capital gains, and then ask for a tax clearance at the RDO where the property subject to sale is registered. No? So halimbawa, yung property is located in Quezon City, tapos yung may-ari is a resident in Marikina, saan ipa-file ang capital gains on real property? Dito sa Quezon City, no? Halimbawa sa RDO 39. Okay. So, saan siya pwedeng bayaran? Sa authorized agent bank, or in places where na walang authorized agent bank, then the revenue collection officer. Sino naman tong revenue collection officer? Sila yung mga employee ng BIR under the collection division that handles collection of taxes. Sila yung may hawak ng OR ng BIR, no? Official receipts. Okay. So online payment, yun lang sa manual payment natin, no? Authorized agent bank, and also the pag walang authorized agents bank, sa revenue collection officer kung saan located po yung property. Okay. So we have also online payment through the Land Bank of the Philippines, link-based portal. No? Kailangan meron kang ATM account with LBP, no? And or holders of banknet deposit, ATM, debit card, or prepaid card. Okay. So, ang dami niyan. Yung bangko can be the Rizal Commercial Banking Corporation or RCBC, the Robinsons Bank, the Union Bank, Bank of the Philippine Islands, and Philippine Savings Bank. So, for the online payment, it can also be done through Development Bank of the Philippines Tax Online. For taxpayer holders of Visa, MasterCard, credit card, and or balance ATM and debit card. Also, pwede rin siyang bayaran online payment on Union Bank online web and mobile payment facility. Also, mobile payment, GCash or Paymaya, or taxpayer software provider, no? Pwede rin. Doon mo it comes through yung online payment. Okay. Okay, so wala pang mga regulations on the computerization ng capital gains. So, ano pa siya? Where the RDO is registered. Doon din pinaprocess. Okay. And then we have RMC 120-2021. Ano naman to? Ito yung pa rin yung implementing guidelines ng tax incentive or ng CREATE Act. Ano? Okay, another is the RMC 121-2021. Ito yung taxability ng interest, no, paid by cooperatives to members, deposit or fixed deposit, otherwise known as share capital. Okay, so bakit nag-clarify ang BR dito on the taxability? Para walang reklamo yung um, taxpayers na sasabihin nila na hindi naman kami subject, no? Especially cooperatives. Sabi nila, may exemption kami. Cooperatives are exempt from taxes. But remember here, na yung pinag-usapan dito yung member and the interest paid na earned ng cooperative, binabayad niya ngayon sa members. No? Okay. So, Section 11, taxability of members, shareholders of cooperatives. So, lahat ng members ng cooperative shall be liable to pay all the necessary internal revenue taxes under the NIRC as amended. Except, ito yung exceptions. Kaya sabi ko sa inyo, sa batas, very, very important yung exceptions. So, any tax and fee, including but not limited to final tax on members' deposits or fixed deposits, otherwise known as the share capital. No? With cooperatives and documentary tax on transactions of members with the cooperative. So yung those stamps ng transactions with the cooperatives, ano siya sabi dito? The tax fee, including but not limited to final tax, sabi niya, liable to pay all the necessary several internal revenue taxes under the NIRC. So, liable daw to pay the all taxes. Okay. Members' deposit refers to savings and time deposits of both regular and associate members, while share capital refers to members' paid up capital. Okay, so based on the above mentioned provisions, members of the cooperative are not liable to pay any tax and fee for the interest earned on members' deposits and fixed deposits. Kasi halimbawa, yung mga members ng cooperatives as a group, nag-invest sila sa isang company, no? Tapos itong company na to, nagbayad sa kanila ng interest, no? So anong sabi niya? Members of the cooperatives are not liable to pay any tax. Taxable ba sila doon sa interest na na-receive nila? Sabi ng regulations, hindi. No? Okay. So, cooperatives are not liable to withhold on the aforesaid interest payment. Why? Kasi exempt siya. No? Exempt ang interest income earned by the members of the cooperative. So, exempt pa rin sila sa tax. Okay. Next tayo is RMC 122-2021, pero maiksi lang to. No? A tax treatment of integrating the international passenger service charge of the point of sale of airline tickets. So, kailan ba taxable yung income ng airline tickets dito sa Pilipinas? No? Okay. So, ano tong Revenue Memorandum Circular 122-2021? Ito yung nag-standardize ng tax treatment, no? Of integrating the domestic passenger service package and international passenger service charge. Oh, meron silang service charge. Service charge commonly referred to as terminal fees into airline tickets at the point of sale. Kaya dyan very strict. So, Memorandum Circular 2012 governed the invoicing and recording of integrated IPSC. Ano yung IPSC? integrating the domestic passenger service charge in the books of airline companies and airport authorities. So applying the guidelines laid down in RMC 34-2012, the following rules for IPEC collected by airline company for airport authority. Okay. Collection of IPEC from passengers. Sino yung mga kolekta? The domestic airline companies. Okay. Sila yung mangungulekta ng IPEC from passengers and shall include the IPEC in the official receipt to be issued by the airline company to the passenger. Okay. Bakit yung airline company ang mag-i-issue? No? The VAT-able and VAT-exempt components of IPEC shall be separately reflected in the official receipt. The share of the airport authority should be shown in the airline company's official receipt as part of the receipt. Parang VAT na nandyan sa face of the receipts. No? Subject to VAT, while the aviation security fee and other fees should be reflected as VAT exempt. No? So VAT exempt yung aviation security fees. The VAT component of IPEC should be included in the total VAT. No? Kasi pag tiningnan nyo ngayon, yung mga resibo natin, meron na siyang non-VAT, meron na zero rated sale, meron na exempt sale. Kaya isang resibo pa lang, iba't ibang klaseng sales yung nandoon. No? So example, share ng airport authority is 390. Tapos yung Bureau of the Treasury, 100. Yung aviation security fee is 60. No? So, total. Domestic airline company is subject to VAT on the international airline company that is considered foreign corporation and subject to VAT on service fees shall record the collection of IPEC as follows. So, cash, IPEC share of airport authority, 348. Due to national government, 100. Aviation treasury, security fee, 60. Output VAT, no? 41.79. Remittance of IPEC by airline company to airport authority. Nagre-remit siya sa airport authority. Okay, so IPEC collected by airline company shall be paid to the airport authority which in turn issue official receipt to the airline company. The receipt should indicate the full amount of PSC 550 per passenger. Okay. Another example, same facts. IPEC shares the airport authority 348, IPEC due to national government 100, IPEC aviation 80, and then the input VAT is 41.79. Okay. So paano mag-record ngayon yung airport authority doon sa books of accounts niya? Debit cash of 550, credit, IPEC share of airport authority, IPEC due to national government, aviation security fee, and output VAT. So, payment of service fees by airport authority to airline company. No? So, ang nagbabayad yung airport authority. Okay, so ano naman ang rule dyan? The payment of the service fee by airport authority to airline company shall be governed by the rules on government money payments and be subject to creditable withholding tax at the rate of 5% and creditable withholding tax of 2% of gross payments. No? So the airline company shall issue a VAT official receipts to acknowledge receipt of the service fees from the airport authority. Kailangan mag-issue siya ng resibo. Payment of service fees by August by airport authority to international airline company shall be treated as other income. Okay. Subject to corporate income tax. So the airport authority naman shall remit the percentage or 5%, no, and 2% on payment of service fees and issue the corresponding certificate of creditable tax. Okay. So may mga examples. Actually, marami siyang examples, no? Okay. So, basahin niyo po yung mga examples para lalo niyo maintindihan. Hmm? The collection of taxes on IPEC specified under this RMC should be treated independently from the gross Philippine billings. Okay. Tax imposed under Section 28A3 of the Tax Code and the 3% common carriers tax under Section 118 of the Tax Code. GPB refers to amount of gross revenue derived from carriage of person Okay, so please feedback po ha. Naayos ko na, wala palang battery. Ah? Okay. So, please feedback po kung meron na. So, anyway, I have finished to you discussing kung ano yung mga bagong updates natin as of December 22, 2021. No? So, since sabi nga natin, may mga bagong updates, so, i-recap ko na lang yung mga updates natin about tax incentives which was implemented by the CREATE law. No? So, we have to know what are those tax incentives, especially para maklaim natin. No? And then yung sa value-added tax natin, na yung sabi doon, yung zero rating natin can be claimed up to 17 years. No? And then, yung mga about sa cigarettes natin, yung mga bagong list or categories ng mga tobacco products. So, bakit pinapaalam sa atin yan? Because those are covered by the excise tax. No? And then yung mga bagong forms natin na 1707 and then 1707A for the capital gains. So, that is all for our updates, and we will have another live streaming on Saturday, and hopefully may sound na tayo. Anyway, wala palang battery, namatay yung ano natin sa sound, no? Okay? So, reminder lang po ulit dun sa ating mga filing. No, pagdating ng January, marami tayong mga deadlines. Kaya right now, during the holiday siguro, umpisa na natin lalo yung ating inventories, yung ano na natin ng mayor's permit, renewal. So, umpisa na po natin yon so that pagdating na ng actual na filing, hindi na tayo mangangapa. No? Very strict tayo sa inventories ngayon, and that is a very, very rich source of discrepancies pagdating sa audit. Why? Kasi madali nila makita eh. No? I-reconcile lang nila yung purchases nyo with that of your sales. So makikita na nila kung ano yung mga inventories na hindi natin na declare. And of course, the value-added tax also. Very strict po yung VAT, especially in the invoicing requirements ng VAT and yung ating summary list of sales and purchases. Also, we have to prepare for those for those report. Kasi ang laki din. At saka palaging nagre-remind yung VAT. Yung mga districts natin. At saka yung VAT, may sarili talaga siyang provisions at mahigpit provisions ng VAT. So if you are a VAT taxpayers. So with that, I would like to say thank you very much and let's call it a day.